Sells right back to R1. Let's see down here. Nasdaq is back to the pre-market highs there, right at 15.3, 15.318, and we're testing R1. I've got R1 as a pretty significant resistance. If we break that, probably end up being a nice bullish day as we climb higher and higher. All right, switching off the futures account, going back to my brokerage account, flip back and forth. Let's see if E-Trade wants to play ball today. All right, SPY on top. We got NASDAQ in the middle. We got VIX down here in the bottom. The same old setup that we always do. What's up, YouTubers? Now we got you loud and clear. All right, another rejection off R1. We rejected it all morning long yesterday. We rejected it in the afternoon yesterday, and now we're rejecting all in pre-market today. So that R1 continues to be a thorn in our side for any kind of bullish sentiment right there. Right off R1. All right, about to close out this straddle. It's pretty much break even. I'm only down like 1.5% on this thing. Not bad at all. I still think those type of positions are worth the risk because you face limited downside, especially if you position yourself properly, and then you can actually have a pretty decent return if you know on a larger move, which we did get. Unfortunately, it just reverted back to the mean. So I'm always happy to take those plays. Nice red candle there, 458.10, red and green, right back and forth. Yep, kept bouncing off this level all day yesterday. R1 will be of significant importance today as we go forward. I'm actually going to post this in the whatchamacallit, Scholars channel here. Rectangle, let's go right here, bam, and I'm going to do a little screenshot. Boom, big red candle off of R1. Look at that, big old red. Let me delete that. Let me come back to the tries. There we go. All right, so the name of the game today. Yesterday I took several different positions, which, by the way, I never posted my my expiration. So let me do this real quick. Okay, so yeah, I had that expiration on the spread I took, and I took 4 additional spreads, and that was just my tranching into the position for Friday. And I want to kind of trickle in to the Friday positions, and I want to get a good amount as well. Like I don't want to take one position for $4 and $5 credit. I want to take several positions for $1.50, $2 credits that I can spread out my risk across a large plethora of strikes instead of just one particular strike, just in case we get blown out. I want to be able to manage well across multiple positions instead of just one. So that's my thesis for the day, and I'll be looking to add to those positions. So SPX up top came right up to 46.04, which is the level we have been testing yesterday. Like I said, I'll be watching that position. There's no plays just yet. This thing is bouncing around R1 here. We do have a press conference today, a rare press conference from Biden. He'll be doing that at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Central, which is going to be right at the close. So he's going to wait for the bell to ring, and then he'll come out and discuss what he needs to. Apparently, like one of the reasons I want to pay attention to this because the White House is scrambling to bring up his approval rating, so he may say something that's maybe incredibly bullish to try to bolster things and gain his approval. We'll see. Either way, I'm going to be paying attention to make sure how it affects the markets. That's why I posted that stuff earlier today, because there was some unique verbiage about across all fronts, even medias that support him. There's a lot of talk about his approval being so low. So I'm curious to see what he's going to say to bolster that, and in turn, adjust the markets. Always want to be aware of market conditions. Oh, thanks here for the gang. Glad you like it. Red candle buying up right off R1. If we break up through R1, I want to play that. Straddle at market close may not be a bad idea. No, I took a straddle yesterday at market close. It's actually not too bad. I'm right at break even right now. I thought I was going to blow it out last night when I saw it when I checked the futures late last night. Unfortunately, it rebounded, but that's the way it is. And now I'm back even, break even. I think it's a great position to put on some risk, although not very much. It's a pretty solid play to me. It's a way to make a little bit of money in an otherwise unpredictable situation. Look at that big green candle up through R1. Nasdaq bought up as well. And if you go back and look, I was doing a lot of. It's an interest. When I see charts like this, it's very interesting to me. I have to dial down. This is where it really gets me into price analysis and the volume because it tells me what the market is doing. And it was sell off, blood red. You know, if you go back and look through all the forums, the Twitter, even on our server, man, the future's blowing up. The globe was selling off. Man, this may hit 4,400, blah blah blah, and then like clockwork, Europe opens at 3 o'clock, and it's like somebody in the futures trading room flipped a little switch from bearish to bullish, and off to the races. And we went back to the traditional buy up every red candle. Green just rages through the ceiling, and right back before we know it. VIX. A key point of view is that the VIX is still holding over 20 in spite of that big bullish move. Right now, let's take a look at the top 10. On the bottom here, Apple is flat but green candles. Microsoft is raging. I guess people are adjusting to that Activision news pretty well. Google's up, Amazon flat, Tesla slightly up but trying to give it back. Facebook is upticking just slightly. Nvidia is up as green as well. Berkshire down. And then, of course, JP Morgan still flat. All right, so we are finally up through R1 and climbing all through up R2 here. I've got $49 on my straddle, so I'm up a couple of percentage points. Hardly at all, but hey, they're profits, you know. If we break over R2 here, I'll be looking to take some calls and write them up. We do have a 0DT expiration today, as well as going into a Friday morning and a Friday afternoon. Expirations on the SPX. All right, XLF popped up nicely, but since sold off. 4 red candles in a row there. The bonds are up and flat, and the rate's 1.85 after topping out over 1.88. Some were predicting the rate we could see 2.0 on the 10 years. Should have done a straddle instead of a put. Well, you know, I wasn't entirely sure. I was thinking that we were going to have a big move. There were a propensity for us to get a good bounce after all that bearishness and maybe sell off, so that's why I took a straddle. I was happy with the position, and right now we're breaking even, so, you know, no harm done. All right, NASDAQ still at the resistance here. We need to be able to pop through here. We are breaking yesterday's session high, almost. We opened a touch higher in here, so we're right at yesterday's session high at 459 and change. Trying to get over 460, which is a key resistance area. Looking for the first play here. I do want to start looking at some call credit spreads now that we're touching a little higher. So if we do start to climb today, I'll wait until midday and see if I can start rolling some CCSs for Friday. Not rolling, that's a bad word. Looking for entering some call spreads for Friday. It'll be a little higher out there. The premiums are still looking pretty good with the VIX being this high. You can still get some pretty decent premium. Looking at the upper 4700s, lower 4800s would be optimum. You don't really start getting some decent premium until the 4730s on these. But I'll be waiting to see what kind of action we get today. Big red candles off of R2. Big red candles. Alrighty here. And coming down to break even on the opening. Trying to come down to S1. All right, enter my first play right there. Let me post it. It's going to be a spread. All right, posted. Still get some pretty good premium very far down the line here. We'll see. What's up? So I do want to throw in a few 0 DTEs today, as well as the some Friday expiration. I'm not going to do the Fridays until a little bit longer because I want to let the premium shake out here. But right now, I got it. Posted in the OM Theta plays, so if you're not tier 2, you won't be able to see that one. By the way, if you didn't see the details for the new Tier 4, I posted that in the server's announcement channel, so go check that out, see if that's something you want to be a part of. Trying to build out a little awesome community here for learning. About 4,600 is over and under. Okay. Alrighty, so looking around the market here, everything is definitely bright green. XLF appears to be the only holdup in the market. 39.84 here. The rates are 1.8 and slowly trickling down. Not much action there. The VIX, we're currently at our first pivot, which is the same pivot as yesterday, 22.53, which I want to be aware of. Big green action here on the NASDAQ. Is he the only one not seeing that? Does everyone else see that play there in OM Theta? I don't know if it's taking long to load. So I am playing a little more aggressive because it is a 0-day position here. So I will keep an eye on the market here. Things are quite bullish. I don't intend, if I get a good 50-60% on that, I will close it out. But it's still, it's 70 points out right now. After a big buy-up action, I guess there is a chance that it could come back down there, but I am obviously betting on the fact that we go a little higher or at least stay flat, giving myself a little bit of cushion here, and I'll close out as we start getting a little further away from that. I'm already up 50% on those right now, so I may actually go ahead and take it off the table. The Twitch stream is not up there. I had to, because I'm now affiliate for Twitch, I had to enable 2FA, which requires me to adjust my settings here, so I won't be on Twitch today, just on YouTube. How do we track strangles in your Excel sheet? I've developed, usually I do them on separate legs and I just divide the credit up, but I'm actually developing a spreadsheet that encompasses all transactions. All you have to do is put in a call credit spread and it'll pop out the format and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So I'm just doing all that stuff in addition to building a website, which you should all see shortly. Still holding between R2 and R1. Yep, I did. When I saw that big red candle, I tried to get an opportunity there the premiums for the PCSers are still very, very fat, way down on the lower 4,500s. So that's what I'm looking to do. Coming back up to R2 again. I'm going to give this a few more potatoes on the the straddle, and I'll be popping that out. We're just a touch below break even at the right now. It's slightly in the red here. If we continue to chop here for a few more minutes, I'll go ahead and cut it because I don't want theta to start destroying my position. I'd rather take a 1% loss. In fact, I might well go ahead and cut that baby out now. Do y'all ever listen to the Game of Thrones themes just to listen to it? Like, I actually enjoy the Game of Thrones themes. Like, I could jam out to that while working out. All right, I want to zoom out to the 1-year chart. And I noticed something today. Y'all know me. I do my chart analysis every morning. I start out the 1 year. This is the closest. We're actually starting to approach the 1-year chart. I'm sorry, we are on the 1 year. That's stupid. We're starting to approach the 200 simple moving average, which we haven't touched it since the initial Corona crash. And it's something we want to be aware of as we start to enter more of a flat market. And as the longer we stay flat here, the more that 200 simple is going to start encroaching on our price. I think max extension from the 200 was May or September, one of those two. So back here, May of 2021, we are quite extended. And then we were there in September, but I think May is when we are the furthest away from the 200. And here we are approaching it. We're only, 17 points away on SPY from the 200. So that'll be very interesting to see if we start actually crossing down to the 200. Just something to be aware of on the market. Big red candle off of R2 again. Fender did a YouTube video with a bunch of great rock guitar players playing the Game of Thrones. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear that. Oh, thanks, Sample Stuff. I'll be sure. I'm definitely not well versed in Twitch. I gotta get down with the Twitch, Twitch makes me twitch. Alrighty then. So, still red candles. We are rejecting hard off of R2. I don't have that written down as a large resistance, but it's proving to be a bear of one. Two big red candles eaten up now. We got some green bouncing back up through R1, 458.89. VIX, 22.53. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's take a look at what's the highest we can get on some decent premiums here. I got 46.50. No, that's too close. No bueno. Not with that bullish action we saw. Although that would be a heck of a run. That would be 110 points off of pre-market lows and blasting through some pretty strong resistances. But you can get a good $2 on the 46.50 call credit spreads. I don't know. I'm going to give this a few more. Nice big green candles here. Nice big green. If we pop up through R2, I will go ahead and close the PCS. That would probably be about 60 to 70% gain if we blast up through R2. Get me some good profits here and take the risk off. After the 2 weeks of clenching, I definitely want to have a little, I want to have an easier week, which is why I'm playing so safe. That's why the PCSs I took yesterday were well outside the money. I'm talking some of them were down in the 4,300s, which is 300 points away. So we'll see what happens. Remember, going by that notion, is that next week is FOMC. And you all know what happens around FOMC. That's a very volatile period. I would like to refer you back to December 15th if you've forgotten the type of volatility that the FOMC event, not the minutes, but the actual event, FOMC. Look back on the December 15th charts when SPX went 100 points in under 2 hours. So Just be aware of the volatility that can come along with the FOMC event. The market, and I was watching the futures. I was up earlier today. I was up about 4:50 Eastern time. I was up a little early, so got my fitness in, and then I'm watching the futures, and like even the futures price action was quite volatile. It was almost like the trading session hours, the way the candles were moving. So I knew the market was going to be a little volatile today, a lot of shaking around. Watching the European markets were green about 0.5 point today. So things were going to be green. I was definitely surprised to see that much green after that much bearishness. But just be aware. And then there's a great deal of resistances right in this area. We have like this huge sandwich, like a huge 7-layer king sandwich of layers of resistance here. So we have to fight through those layers, both on the upside and the downside, before we get that break. But we're still in that negative gamma territory. We'll see how this week brings with a little OPEX and going into, or OPEX, I'm sorry, not OPEX, going into next week. I know you consider the market conditions a variety of other factors, but can you touch on your impressions regarding the more touches on RS level? Yeah, so these RS levels, the more like, I'd like to more think about them as RS zones. They're zones of distribution of volume. And I put those on there as pivot points where the market will adjust. So if I see a particular level that's got a large amount of open interest or a large amount of block orders, I want to see the price action fluctuate around that price. And so like if I see a position constantly being touched, I like that more along the fact of a high propensity for that to stay there. If you look at R1 yesterday, it was bouncing off bam, 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 all over. So I know that's a very strong level, and it's proving to be the same today, and now we're maxing out at R2. So I know that is holding true. Now, the more times we touch it, those orders are going to start churning and burning. Because if you've got a price that's sticking at a particular order, you got to think that those orders are starting to get eaten up one way or the other, and then they're going to fail one way or the other, and that's what I'm going to start looking at. The longer we stay at a position, the bigger the move away from that position I'm going to be looking at. So it's not necessarily about the amount of touches. I want to monitor the volume of the price action. If I see the price action that's kind of oscillating around a couple of resistances, I'm going to start focusing on the volume to get an indication of where it's going to break away. Are we going to get a big green bullish buy-in and blast up or below? And then you can start to play the breaks too. That you can even form scalps opinions off that. You can play the swing high scalps, or you could form a day trade where if this blast over R2, I'll take a 3 to 5 day DTE and let's see if we can get some bullish action into close. But right now, we still got 10 minutes until the market to the morning range is set. We're still hovering over R2, which we've already broken above yesterday's pre-market or yesterday's kind of consolidation of R1. But we're now testing the R2 level, which was pretty much the high yesterday. If we break above R2, we could get some bullish action. I'm going to be looking for follow-on bullish big green volume candles, and I'll be looking to ride a call for some significant gains. Hopefully. That's the plan, at least. Man, the ILS approach for our local airport, which is a Class Charlie airport, is right over my house, and we're about 12 miles from the airport. So I get Southwest jets all day right over my house. Literally, I could look up and see it. I could also see my house when I'm flying back into the city. I could look down, so there's my house right over top. As long as the approach is on the southern facing runway, flying to the south, I'm good to go. So I don't know if y'all can hear all the airplanes or not, but. All right, some nice green action up to R2. I'm going to go ahead and close these straddles right here. I just don't want these things to eat. If it breaks, whatever, I'll play it. But the straddles have served their purpose. I don't want to hold on to position once my strategy is gone. My strategy for the straddle is now gone, so I'll go ahead and execute those and put them out of their misery. Let's see here. Patreoners. And out. There's the notification on the phone. Good to go. But you see my intent with the straddles. With the big moves we've been getting, it's minimal downside. That was a 1 day DTE position. And people were pinging me like, "Hey, aren't you worried about IV crush destroying the position?" Well, it depends. There is times if I see a big bullish action for, it could in fact play the IV, but if I get a big enough move, which we have been getting pretty significant moves, it'll overcome that. You'll still be a profitable position. And I would much rather take some small profits and uncertainty rather than gamble and try to get big profits and then take a big loss. So 3% loss is nothing. It's cost of doing business. Me taking advantage of some potential profits, putting on a little risk, but not too much risk. I'll happy with it. 3% risk, 3% loss ain't bad at all. All right, so we got a little red action here just under R2, still consolidating. I'm sitting right at about 50% profit on these PCSs. 10:05 is coming up. We got 6 minutes, so the morning range is set. Seems to straddle every day makes sense. It is a good opportunity for those who can't do any kind of theta plays to take advantage of a theta type play. Although you catch what I'm picking up. You're picking up what I'm putting down there. So it is a good opportunity to make some money in an environment of uncertainty. However, you have to be careful. If we're in a chop zone, I don't want to do it. If we're in a situation where there's a lot of big moves pre-market, I want to take that risk, and that we have been getting some big moves. So I took that risk again today, and it didn't work out, but so be it. What you don't want to do is, obviously you don't want to make the market trade flat. You don't want to get caught. The worst possible outcome for a straddle is the market stays flat and implied volatility crashes. You get that double whammy of decay plus the IV crush. It's no bueno. So the best scenario for a straddle is extreme downside. That VIX spikes up, implied volatility climbs, premiums get juiced, as well as the put starts to increase greatly on a big downward move. That's the upside. Anyway, big red candle. I don't get long strangles. Are you a straddle? Are you bullish and bearish at the same time? Yes. You are buying a put and a call, an at the money position. You're buying an at the money put and at the money call at the exact same time. And you can adjust them. You can give more weight to calls. You can give more weight to puts. You can use the other leg as a hedge, whichever you want. But the straddle, you can do an even same number of contracts. But it's a position where you want to take advantage of a move. You want to take that position in areas where volatility is high, the propensity for a move is high. However, you don't know which direction. Yes, you're gonna reduce the amount of profits you get, but you're also going to reduce the amount of loss you get. Because when the position moves, you want the moving position, the increasing call, or the increasing contract to overcome the losses of the losing contract, and you get that net profit. What you don't want to do is stay in the zone of unprofitability, which is a zone straddling the at the money price. Can a straddle lose over 100%? You can lose the value. It depends how you look at it. You'll lose 100% of the whole position, but you're losing 100%. If you lose the whole thing, you'll lose 100% of the call, 100% of the put. But no, you can't lose over 100% of your investment. No. All it is you're buying two positions at the same time. So you're not actually riding any position. There's no risk of losing more than 100%. No. What is your thought process beside analyzing that big red candle? There is not much volume there. However, we are at a very strong resistance up here. We are bouncing off R2 like it's made out of unobtainium. So right now that's telling me we're at a very strong resistance. The sellers aren't necessarily here. However, there are enough selling orders at that particular level to reject the bullish action. So we've got 3 minutes on the morning range to set, though. All right, so we've got under R2 here, R1. Now some red candles rejecting R2. It's funny how pre-market it beast mode up all the way up here. Now we're just flat right at this resistance, 4,600. It's funny how the market likes to revert back to certain positions. All right, so looking at different positions here, I want to adjust and go through the options chain to figure out which premiums I'm going to pick up here. I'm definitely looking at another zero position play at least, and then I want to add 1 to 2 positions for Friday. I don't want to overextend because I took 4 positions yesterday. I want to add at least 1 to 2, maybe 3 positions today, another one tomorrow, and then I want to coast into Friday, just collecting my premiums, collecting my profits. This market is difficult. Yeah. But it's been. If you, let's look back, a lot of people are talking about they're having difficulty with this action here, and if you look back towards November, it's when all this craziness started. The early market is when we came up here, we consolidated, and then bam, you see, 1, 2, 3, just major, massive candles throughout the day, immediate reversals. But the biggest thing is not necessarily the volatility in the size of the candles; it's the direction of which the candles are going. Because up until November, we are all used to just every red gets bought, upward trending action. But right now, that's not how things are rolling. The price since Corona has been doing this up, but ever since November, it's doing this, and we're just not used to that. So that is the difficulty, is that people expect all these dips to get bought, but instead we're just oscillating between a certain range of all-time high 480 and down here at 448, 450. And that's the difficulty, is we have volatility in a chop range where it's a lot of unpredictability and a lot of reversals in price action. And we have to be aware of certain conditions. We have to be very much on our game and our price analysis and volume analysis so we can get a play properly. For this PCS entry, 45.35, the fill is 210. The downside is huge. Well, all the downside for spreads are huge, but you want to do a risk reward on price action as well as the credit you're going to get for the downside you could face. $10.05, by the way. Shaking and baking time. And there it is, rejecting off of R2. I want to come back here. Big green on the VIX. Red candle or green candle up here. I'm going to do SPY. Nice extending red candles here. We've got the NASDAQ right here, 15,332, and we've got VIX on the bottom. So what happens? And that's a good Ramster asked that question. It's a great question. So, in the event that we have a major circuit breaker and we come all the way back down to pre-market lows of 43, 45, 35, which is a pretty strong support, if we do start to test that, is when I'm going to start to hedge. I'll start buying futures, long puts, and I'll start buying SPX plays as well. I'll play the downside to start minimizing the potential loss. And then what happens, there's a certain point where I want the hedges to defend that position. And then once it reaches, if it continues to have that very bearish action, and we do all right, here comes 45.60, here comes 45.40, and the position starts getting, 45.40 is even too late. I would close the position way before that. I would look at closing the position for, it would probably be a couple 100% loss at that point, and then letting the hedges run. Or I would cover the short leg, let the long leg run in addition to all my hedges, thus further reducing my downside. So if I'm just playing that PCS and kind of kicking back and, all right, well, I'm just going to let that baby ride, yeah, it's an extreme risk and it's high, but I'm not going to sit there and let that just thing eat into the ground as the price action decays 60 points in a day. So there's a lot of stuff. There's hedges. I'm defending that position. I'll close out the short leg when it starts getting, past the point of no return, etc. All right, VIX testing the top of the channel, this 2263 SPY, rejecting R2, and coming down to the top of the morning range is now set, by the way, and the pre-market chop zone. A rest day. That's funny. So let's take a look here. I do want to come out here just so I can kind of analyze the volume a little bit better here. The volume has been pretty much stationary all day. Yes, we had a couple of outliers here of low candles, but if I see the volume is kind of just doing this number where it's relatively flat throughout the day, it's telling me sustained volume. And now I'm going to start looking at an outliers. I want to see, do I get a big outlier of bullish or bearish? Do we get a bounce here off the bottom in this range? Start looking at the price action. Now, we have a bottom wick hammer here on the red. The buyer's going to step in. Let's see if the buyers can step in, at least test VWAP, or even bring it back up to these session highs. Let's take a look at XLF. Very, very much bearish action on XLF. The bonds have been kind of doing this upward trending barcode chop type thing. The TNX now, the 10 years are 1.85 after topping out over 1.88. All right, red candles here. Coming down, testing the bottom of the range. Bottom of the range. Let's see if we get a little bit of a bounce. There's a big green. All right, so looking at these trades here, eyeing a couple of 46.60s on the call credit spreads, as long as we see if we can, how we act in the next few minutes here. Now we got the initial 30-something minutes out of the day. VIX is now green, rejecting this level once again. And these two levels here are very important for the VIX. In fact, I'm going to lower this just a touch. I'll probably bring this down to there. At 21.92 on the VIX bottom pivot. All right, so my next trade is going to be probably a long trade. If we get a bounce here, I'm eyeing a bounce off the bottom of this range. I'll be looking at the January 22nd contracts. I'll be going with the AM contracts just for the long position. Obviously, I'm not going to be holding that very long. So if we get a bounce, and that's the big if there, and that's what I'm planning for. If we do that, I'll be looking at some puts below that and taking up the SPX. Let's see, probably the 4610s and then the 4685s. All right, right there. Nicely, Rat. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. All right. Still waiting for the long position here. We are just under R1, kind of stuck at the moment here. If we break down below that, I'll look at taking some puts, obviously, but if we bounce up is where I'm going to be looking to take some calls. We are kind of sandwiched between the bottom of the range here and VWAP, so there's not a lot of room if we do reject VWAP here. So you got to be quick in and out. Yep, 121. Yep, 121. Let me adjust that. My bad. In E-Trade, it calls it 122. That's why I said that. So it's, yeah. But yes. See, that's how E-Trade labels their charts right there, or their options for this week on SPX. Yep, I don't know why they do that. It's because it's the mid-month, so but they still choose to do that. I don't think the format is all that great, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're the mid-month contracts. I just don't know why they decided to form them like that, but is there an easy way to set a stop loss in a PCS and Tastyworks? I don't know the answer to Tastyworks. I know you can do it in E-Trade. I just don't know about Tastyworks. How do you know what Tastyworks tastes like? All right, look at that. Breaking to the bottom range. Red candles right down to S1. Smoke show off of R2. Still not buying the downside just yet. Doing your job, getting done is rough. I got you. I got you. Red candle, little bottom wick red candle there. Keep an eye on the NASDAQ as well. VIX now popped up through top pivot here and reaching yesterday's medium pivot before we go all the way to the top of Roni. Read the first 4 chapters of VPA last night. Good stuff. Yes, it is. It's a very good book. I highly recommend you read it. And if you've already read it, read it again. So, fantastic, fantastic book. It'll give you a little more analytical insight on how you do trading off of some volume price analysis. And she breaks it down in a very elementary way, too, that I really am attracted to. I don't like over technical analysis stuff, and I don't like technical jargon. So I'm a simple dude. Right here at R2, looking here, I'm going to zoom out, and I want to look at the 3-month chart. Boom. Let's look here. Zoom out. All right, so we're right around this demand area, and we're currently popped in between 2 strong levels here. We need to break up and head north if we have any hopes of breaking 46.50. The buyers definitely need to step in. You see the selling action has been increasing all day or all week since January 12th. So the selling action is increasing here. Usually when we get that, we do have some downside here. We have a big top wick on this candle, so we need to climb on up. On the hourly chart, we got a big red candle, not too much volume, but we're only we got still 10 minutes left in the hour. 3-minute chart here, straight red candles now, and we're hovering right on the MA, which I'm going to turn that off. I don't use that for day, and then right at S1. Which book is that again? That is the Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis. I've got a link to it on my website, theoptionsmillionaire.com. If you head there and go into investing resources, you'll find a link to it. Fantastic book. Highly recommend you grab it. I think you could pick up an e-copy of it for pretty cheap if you want the hard copy, which I prefer because I can take written notes. You can get one for pretty cheap, like somewhere in $20 or something like that. So selling volume here is diminishing while we have a little bit of bottom wick here just under or just over S1. Looking to take some positions if we get a bounce. I'm not quite. If we start breaking down below S1 and NASDAQ smokes downward here because the NASDAQ is a little more bullish than SPY at the moment, then I will look at taking some puts. But right now I'm still not buying the puts. XLF is straight line falling. XLY is down as well. XLV is getting a nice little green bounce as well as XLK. Big reds right through S1. All right, so we rejected R2 hard, 459.55, and now we're down to 457.22. That's about $1.50 move. A little healthy action there. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me know if you have any trouble finding that, and I'll help you out. Be on the lookout for the episode 7 of the podcast releasing tomorrow morning. That'll be on. I'll post it here in the Discord, but that'll be linked on Patreon for now, at least. Once we get the website up and running, the podcast will be hosted other places, so you'll be able to listen to it in other different places. A little more convenient for you all. Let me know, by the way, if you have any ideas for some topics you want to hear on the podcast, people you want to hear from. I want to have a moderators podcast where all the moderators come on. You can kind of put a voice to the faces and hear from them and Learn their personalities. Mod Pod. That's what I'm going to call it. Mod Pod. All right. Not too quick to jump on some Friday expirations just yet. We definitely have some shaking and baking going on here, and I don't want to clinch too soon. So I'll be starting to build the positions when we have a little morning move here. Picked up 460 calls for a YOLO play. As long as you're properly positioned, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Just make sure you're not overextending yourself. All right, right here, 15,294. NASDAQ is right in between their range. VIX popped up off of bottom pivot and now reaching towards the top, 23.24. Big selling action. Oof. On this on the SPY now coming down to S2. Sellers starting to kick in. Oh, big red candle there, touching S2. Now it's starting to look a little shaky. So I'm going to watch very cautiously. If we break down below S2, I'm going to be looking taking some puts right now. Looking at that selling volume, maintaining selling volume, as that's a nice sustained sell there. XLF, big getting hosed. Look at that. XLF is absolutely getting smoked. 40 down to 39.50. Bonds on a steady increase now. Rates are trying to get a bounce right there, but bonds are actually getting, or I'm sorry, the XLF, financial sector, getting smoked. XLY, big downside there because Tesla down 0.58 after being up to 10.55. They are now down to 10.24. Amazon down at the bottom. The rest of tech pretty much following the same suit except for Google, who's maintaining the top of their channel. There goes the NASDAQ on down. SPX 45.82. Nice little 30-point sell-off there. A lot of volatility in the markets. My PCS went from +5 to -100 in minutes. Yeah, this is some pretty strong selling here, starting to build in here. So, market can't let us have too much fun, can it? It's got to get that clinch. My PCS went from what, 210. It is now sitting at 250. So it was down to about 90 cents, 80 cents, and that's what I get for not taking my profits. But we'll see how this day plays out. Berkshire is down 1.9. JP Morgan getting smoked in the face, 2.4 or 1.6%. I'm sorry. After a little bit of upwards trending action in pre-market, absolutely getting smoked. They've been getting smoked a lot lately. Straight red ever since the 10 o'clock Eastern time. Straight down. NASDAQ coming on down. Gonna have to take I've got my Options Millionaire green hoodie on. I gotta take it off. A little warm. A little warm in here. Am I in puts? Not yet. No, I got a PCS, but we'll see how this action plays out here. Hey, I have the same hoodie on. Good stuff. And this thing is starting to look extremely bearish. The conditions are breaking down very quickly. Very quickly. So now I'm going to start looking at hedging pretty aggressively. If this continues to break down, I'm going to hedge against this position. Because it's straight line falling down here. So let's see. Looking at some futures here, rolling over. I got 237 on those things. The loss on the PCS is not accelerating all that much. However, it does reach a point where it starts hitting the gas pedal. Now, we're not there yet, but I don't want it to go much further from here. Any further down from here, it starts getting a little dicey, and I don't want to take on that much risk. But R2 was rejected perfectly. S2 is coming on down. We'll see how it bounces off of that. Top wick right there. Not going to miss a move down here, so let me see. January 22nd AM contracts. I'll be looking at the 4560s. Look at that top wick. Even that green candle was top wicked. All right, NASDAQ falling down here. All right, hold on. All right, took a put there, 20 right there. I'm going to put there. Once I saw that NASDAQ broke down, I am in that put. Not going to I'm watching NASDAQ closely as the big red candles are just dropping. Look at that, 15,252 on the NASDAQ. All right, took a quick put there on the 4560s. Not moving all that much, though. That candle right there on the NASDAQ is what convinced me. You see that big engulfing candle still on the downside, now starting to look very, very hairy. And now I'm also hedging on some futures at the moment now. Things are breaking down. I might actually, I'm going to give this a few more potatoes as that is just getting smoked in the face. Alrighty. Let's see if I can get 25, 30 on these babies. All right, so we have dropped off of R2, 459.54 down to 456, which is just under S2. I'm sorry. All right, close right there. Didn't get the 25.30 I wanted, but I got the 25, so I'll take that. Little dollar profit, not much, but I'll take it. Motion blower, a little 14% scalp. Well done, well done. 455, 453 is possible today. If under this action, 455 looks definitely possible. NASDAQ is respecting the bottom of their range, which smoked SPY. SPY is a little bit more bearish than NASDAQ at the moment because the XLF is just getting destroyed. So you got financial sectors getting destroyed in addition to tech. I mean, look at financials right there. Look at that. Just absolute red smoke show. Tech is now turning bearish, so we've got that double whammy on SPY, which is leading it to be a little bit more heavy than the Qs. So Qs are still holding their range. They're pretty much flat. SPY is getting destroyed. So that's the reason why. Futures are a little heavy. I'm sorry, the XLF is a little heavy. Focus. Watch this NASDAQ, man. This is straight red selling here. I'll post that position in the OM longs here in a second, but I want to make sure I'm not missing another trade while I'm typing. So I'm just watching everything here. Trades are now, I'm looking at the 45.60 January 22nd, which is Friday. It's Friday AM 45.60 on SPX. Now trading for $26. Should have held on to that one. But yeah, I am going to test out a zero. I'm going to go with the January 19th here. So I got a pretty big move there and didn't get quite the move just because there's not a lot of volume on those options. So I'm going to go with a zero and see if I can catch a move downward as we are just absolutely smoking downside. Yep, coming down to yesterday's low just under R2. Look at the NASDAQ all the way down to their session. Now's where we want to make decisions here. Do we anticipate a bounce and go long, or do we continue to short this? We're at a couple of key levels here that we need to pay attention to. People obviously taking profits off of last night's crazy bounce. All right. So yesterday's PM range, the bottom of it, 45.80 or 455.80. Now we are right here. Looking for any indication that the NASDAQ is going to bounce, and I'll look at jumping into a position. But right now, no such luck. No such luck. Big green on the XLF. Tesla still selling off. Look at that. Tesla is absolutely getting destroyed and still extending those losses. Google's rounding over. Tech getting destroyed. Apple. We talk. Oh, look at Apple. Bam. That's some straight ladder sell-off right there. I got $2.80 on my put credit spreads. I entered 215. So we're looking. I'm sorry, 210. So we're a little bit in the red here. But as long as we don't get blasted a little more, I've got my positions in place to defend. And that gives me a little bit more leg room when I start to defend those positions. NASDAQ, double red candles extending down further, reaching a going on a 160-point sell-off. Is it me or the 0DTE puts not really pumping that much on this move down? Look at the same strikes the whole time. The premiums aren't moving all that much, I will say. Not as much as I was hoping they would. That's why I elected to go with the zeros, because that 2-day expiration was not just barely yielded anything on a pretty decent move down. I didn't get much on there at all. I think like 4% is what I ended up profiting on that trade. Look at the NASDAQ, still extending that loss. Look at that. 15,207. SPY coming down to S3. Tesla rounding over, now becoming, what is that, the big waterfall. And SPY touching S3. VIX is at the top of that pivot. SPX is 45.73, but it's about to touch your 45.68. So XLF is green a little bit here, but tech is absolutely getting wamboozled. All right, there we got that. Looking at the 45.85 calls, if we can catch a bounce, but right now it's all red. NASDAQ just one after another, candles lower and lower and lower. SPY now about to complete almost a $5 sell-off. I'm sorry, $4 sell-off in a few minutes here. All right, so now the put's starting. It's approaching the $3 mark, so now it's starting to get a little more aggressive. The hedges I've put in place is minimizing the damage, but yeah, we're getting to the point now where if we continue this action, that'll be a little crazy, but we'll see what happens here. I'm going to take a risk on a play, and I just entered a call to see if I can get a bounce up. And I'll post it right here. Riskier play there, but I'm going to take to see if I can get a bounce on this call. We're down here. I've got a hammer candle on the NASDAQ. We came down 45.70-ish. The VIX looks at the top of their pivot, looks like it wants to round over here, so we'll see what happens. 45.85. 45.85. I've got the Nasdaq rejecting top of that. I've got I'm sorry, not the VIX rejecting it with the Nasdaq that has this bottom wick, and SPY is holding just under S3, which I have S3 as the stronger of the supports, which is my thesis for doing that. Watching this next candle here, I don't want that green to be flushed. That is no bueno, especially on a 0DT position. There's a nice little green. Here we go. What can we do? What can we do? All right, red candle after that. That green candle's eaten up. I don't like that, so I'm probably going to exit this position here in a second. But I don't like the first few minutes. The first few minutes are always iffy. There's no wiggle room. There's no wiggle room. Green candle's eaten up and on back down for SPY and the Nasdaq, trying to bust out new lows. So all right, holding this level right here. Right there. All right. Squeeze momentum's rounding over. Very key level right here. Very key level. Couple of bottom wicks. We're just under S3, or over S3. VIX needs to reject. We need to bounce. Otherwise, it's going to get dicey. There's a lot of steam picking up with the geopolitical events overseas. So I'd highly encourage you to pay attention to that stuff if you're not really those that are attuned to global events. This may be a time where you want to change that, especially if you are an investor. Things are getting a little dicey overseas. I won't say too much about it, just because I don't want to put myself in hot water. But things are getting dicey. Highly encourage you to be aware of those type of events. Well, this is a little different than last time. This event is a little bit different than last time, both politically and financially. The market does not like unexpected events, and if a major global superpower decides to make a very aggressive move, that's an unexpected event, and markets don't like that. So we are not getting a bounce at all here whatsoever. Whatsoever. Yep. So yeah, they're talking about now. This is definitely a great week to take profits. I just ate my own, put my foot in my mouth there. I should have took my 60%, but now I'm, fighting to defend the position is what it is. But we're just under S3 at the moment. Very strong support level here on S3. Yes. All right, little bottom wick green candle right off of S3 down to the penny, almost down to the penny. Let's see if we can come up to the 8, or do we get LRSs? Definitely don't want an LRS. Follow on red candle after a hammer. I'll try to alert when I exit this position as fast as possible. My finger's on the buy button. I'm not looking at anything right now except for this position. I've removed preview mode so I can get out. All I got to do is click a button and I'm out. So that is my process at the moment. A little bit of green here. A little bit of green. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, getting a little bounce. Bounce-a-roni. Bounce-a-roni. Let's see if we can get it. Come on. There's some green. All right, can I get 12? Can I? I'll take a little off of 12 if I can get it. We'll see. I'll take a little off of 12 if I can get it. Got a little green bouncing up. Let's approach S2. Top wicks, don't like it. Big top wick on that green candle. And eating back up. We'll see. Watching that VIX, nice little rejection there, but we need some follow through. Right now, there's no bullish follow through whatsoever. So, we need that follow through to be any kind of hofer for an upward trending action. All right, we are holding the 8 so far pretty well. Just got a partial order fill there on 11. Taking some risk off. Hey, red candles. Taking a little risk off that, taking some profits. Nice little 10%er or so. Yeah, so if you all, one day you stop hearing from OM for a few weeks, you know what happened. I'll be over in the Europe. Aquifer at 45, 50, 68 breaks. Will able to trade on deployment? No. No, I will not. So that is a risk. A risk we'll have to take. All right, a little bit of green. I did not. I did not. But in the event that a global event happens, I mean, obviously, pretty much every military member would be activated. So it is a risk, you know. Maybe if all this 5G works, I can get in the cockpit and do a podcast from the cockpit. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. Risk management. Boom. All right. I am cutting some more at 12. I've only got one more position. I've got one more lot left. This is how I play my zeros. So if you're all interested, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'll try to call it out as fast as I get filled. I took a lot out at 11. I took a lot out at 12. Little 30%er there. And now I'm going to let these try to get some action if we get a bounce. No, I don't have a lot of confidence in them, but I've taken a good enough amount of profit where I can kind of let them breathe and go from there. I've traded on deployment several times. I love it, CSM. I love it. Does CSM stand for Command Sergeant Major, or is that just a acronym? What bird do I fly? I don't want to say, just because I don't want to drum up, you know, it is what it is. I just want to say. OPSEC concerns, you know. I want to keep that line completely delineated. My commanders and my people are very well aware of the server, man. I don't want to get in trouble. All right, little red. All right, so right here between S2 and S3. Close the rest at $10. I want the rest. I want out of that position. Served its purpose. Got my money. Out. Close the rest at 10. My PCSs are now break even. If we get up any bullish action, I'll go ahead and take profits over those because I see how the market is acting. No bueno. No bueno. I am not, Zach. I am not, no. Make me miss my flying lessons. Held up with it. Oh, nice. Yeah, the medical stuff hurts, man. I've seen, you want to see a grown man cry, go to the FFA, go to the when they're getting their class 1 medical to enter military flight training and tell them no for something they didn't know they had. Big old 6'2", like maverick type dude start crying. It's not fun. Not fun. Dreams crushed. 456.29. Didn't quite get the bullish bounce I get. If we continue to get some bullish action, I'll enter back into that trade. Would I consider entering calls in a second rejection of S3? Second rejection, I'd be more cautious to enter a bounce off of the S3. Because you start doing the second, third, fourth bounces, they start becoming less and less probable. Nice green action here. And just like that, my PCS is back in the green. And just like that, my PCS is back in the green. I feel like Morgan Freeman over here. Sounds like Forrest Gump. All right. Finally got a little green here. Finally got a little green. Closing that baby. I close my PCS. I want no part of it. I don't care if it goes raging up and it expires worthless. My goal is to trade this week very cautiously, and I do not want to have stress, so I'm closing it out. Bam. Exit. All right, yeah, out of PCSs. I don't like that downside whatsoever, so I'm happy to be out of it. Just under S2, S3. I'd like to unsell a few things. Yeah, yeah. See all these top wicks right here? I don't like them. Top wicks. We had this big $4 sell-off out of nowhere. We've got these top wicks. The VIX is still holding. Me personally, it's worth not stressing out to remove that. Like, I'm not in it for right now. I'm in it here for conservation, playing things nice and safe. I'll throw in a few trades, make a little money. I just got a nice little 0 DTE. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, we could also pin here forever, for sure. XLF, trying to get a little bit of a bounce there. And there's a big red. There's a big red. VIX is punched through big green candle there. Seems like today would be a great day to lose the close of PCS short leg and let the long leg bit later. If we get a big downside, yes, but I don't want to get a double whammy on that. So I just want to go ahead and close out the position altogether. All the position altogether. Look at that big old green climbing up 22.43. SPY's there. All right, if y'all are interested, I know some people ask for hats. I love snapback hats, like the traditional, regular, like snapback baseball caps. We got one embroidered with the logo on there, so if you are interested, I'm going to post a picture of it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'll post it in the general chat room. It'll be featured on the website, especially with the springtime coming up, baseball season right around the corner, time to play outside. Great time to have a good hat. Boom. There you go. Let me know what you think. Red candles, right back down to S3. Alrighty. Testing S3 once again. That still proving to be, if you notice in the pre-market analysis, proving to be that is definitely the strongest of the three. Yeah, buddy. I thought, imagine how long you've been trading. Yeah, I've been trading for going on 11 years now, Brett. 11 years. So I just started the community back in April of 2021, so we've been going on a year now. We're 9 months into the community, but yeah, been trading for 11 years. Love it. Potentially it's a life-changing experience once it clicks and once you learn and you get through the frustrations, the aggravations, and the conspiracy theories you tell yourself in your brain about why things go against you. Once you get through all that, man, it's an incredibly rewarding experience. But yeah, I love every second of it. I will look at the breakdown of puts if we smoke S3, which we look like we might. Things are getting a little hairy here. A little hairy. Glad I sold that PCS. I'm not going to lie. I've out of that crap. Look at that. NASDAQ, big smoke show. 45.69 on SPX. NASDAQ, 15.146. I've got puts up ready to go. Booyah. I keep waiting for SPY to find some footing and start back up, but it's not happening. That precisely is why a lot of accounts are going to get rolled. Because that's why a lot of people are having issues the past 2 months, because they're waiting for that bounce. They're waiting for this thing to bounce back up, and it's not coming. Every green's sold off, every red's bought up, back and forth, shaking and baking, reversals, city, 100-point moves. It's hurting a lot of people. Hurting a lot of people. Do you believe in stop-loss farming by institutions? Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't think they're trying to go for onesies and twosies, but I do think what they do is try to gravitate their targets towards very large areas of open interest. And if, oh man, big red candles. Booyah. Stand by. I'm going to stop flapping my guns for a second, see if I can make a little money. All right, January 19th, going with the 45.55s. Puts going for $8.50 right now. 45.50s have 15,000 in volume right now. By far the largest volume on the charts is the 45.50s on SPX right now. So let's see if we can gravitate towards 45.50. Ooh. Vet coming out with the GIF. GIF. All right, little green candle to save the day so far. That would have been hairy. That would have been hairy. Precisely why I'm not being aggressive with plays right now is because of that green candle right there, the reversals. If I'm playing zeros, you're going to get reversed very quickly. Just got reversed myself. Yep. Yep. That's why. A lot of shaking and baking here. Officially official. NQ is in correction territory. Look at that action on the NASDAQ. Right there. 16,671 was the high, down to 15,050. That's a 1,600 point sell-off, 1,650 point sell-off. That's 10%. For those of you who can do some quick math, carry the zero. Should have held those puts I closed a couple of days ago, shouldn't I? Those overnight puts. Yep, that's why I exited that PCS right there. It had that bottom feel to it, man. I don't like it. I'm not in the mood to cleanse today, so I'm out. So you, do you ever feel imposter syndrome when having a bad week? If so, how do you come back fresh? Imposter syndrome, what do you mean? Uh, I mean, you have bad weeks. It happens. You know, the past 2 weeks have been very difficult to trade. You have to fall back on your experience and kind of take emotion out of it. You know, some people get down on themselves. Why do I keep failing? Why do I keep losing? But, you know, just got to move on with it. Every time I come back a losing streak, I go small. 45.64, by the way. On SPX. With the shaking going on, do any of you experts have any mental tips on cues on how to make steady base hits? 5 trades today, 2 right, 3 wrong. Up a grand total of $22. Well, you know, be happy that you're in the profits. You know, that's one. Being up $22, yeah, it's not much, but hey, it's better than being down a couple of grand. It's better being deep in the hole. These are extremely crazy volatile conditions. These are very difficult conditions. So be happy with any green. If you're green, cool, whatever. Move on. Like, be happy with it because these are hard markets to trade. In order to, you know, obviously control some emotions, make sure you're going small. Make sure you're taking appropriate position sizes. Understand that this is an amateur investor or a beginner investor. They see volatility and they want to increase their plays. They want to increase their position sizes to take advantage and to get big wins. It's precisely the opposite. On crazy volatile, on high volatile conditions, big moves, you want to go smaller. Go smaller because it's very volatile. It's very risky. Are you asking me personally how I deal with that? No, I don't. I handle losses being in the spotlight just same way I handle spot losses back in the day. When I first started the community, I felt like I had a lot of pressure to prove myself and post plays and stuff like that, which, you know, that's understandable. But no, I've since learned like I make more money and I do better when I trade me, when I'm being me. I don't worry about that stuff. And not to mention, I think it's, you know, I owe it to you all to be me, to trade and not try to force anything. So no, I don't feel imposter syndrome. Losing is part of the game. If you follow anybody online and they try to hide losses or they don't show losses, they don't talk about it, they're completely full of crap. Because everyone takes losses. It happens. If you don't see somebody posting consistent losses, then you don't need to be following them or listening to them, because I guarantee you it's a facade. It's fake. Anybody who does $1,000 to $1 million account challenge, complete nonsense, absolute nonsense. So nice, Justin. Well done. All right, so NASDAQ, new lows, still coming down here. Let's figure out Tesla's still down here. Apple, absolutely getting smoked, down 1.25%. And I want to show you a joke of a chart, an absolute smoke show comical joke. Look at this. This is the futures chart. So we tanked 45 points, and now we bounced up 46.04, and now we're just right on back down. Just up, down, up, down, up. The market's doing burpees on us. Can I do a small account challenge? I'm going to do something along the lines this month or next month. In the next few weeks, I'll say that. It's not going to be your traditional $1,000 to $25,000 challenge, because I think that perpetuates negative investing practices, unhealthy investing practices. So, but I will be doing something. I just haven't figured out what it is yet, or I haven't nailed it down quite yet. I want to do something unique, a little different from what everyone else does, because in order for me to go to $1,000 to $25,000 in a month or two, I have to take risky positions. I have to go all in on zeros and stuff, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's just not going to help people. Man, straight line selling ever since this 10 o'clock, man. Talk about 10:05 reversal. So blasting through S3 now, just over S4. Yeah, I would do something more of a, I don't know, scalping thing where you take her maybe some shorter positions, smaller position sizes. What I would rather see you do, instead of seeing someone take $1,000 account and buying $1,000 worth of zero DTE plays and let it ride, what I would rather see you do is take 10 $100 positions a day that are zero DTE, scalp them for 10 to 15% each, and build 10 to 15% like that. That's the way to do it. And that's the way I would run something like that. But I would never take a $1,000 account, buy $1,000 worth of positions, and just let it ride. It's just not sustainable. Eventually, I'm going to take a loss, and it's going to smoke my account. I don't care how good I am. Eventually, you're going to take a loss, and you're going to destroy yourself. How would that work with the pattern day trade rule? As long as you have a cash account, there is no PDT rule. So I would have you switch to a cash account. If you've got $10,000 in a cash account, you can trade 10 $1,000 trades. You can trade 20 $500 trades. It doesn't matter. So you can trade your full account each day with cash. If you've got a margin account, you'd be a little limited to that. Nice little green candle here, by the way. We're right at vets 45.68. Helson Sheldon did a 5K to 10K challenge in the first week of January. With PDT rules, he did it in 4 days. All trades posted. Yep. Well, talk to me in another month when he goes from 10K to 1K. That is correct, Catching. You cannot do spreads on a cash account like that. No. How far out do you typically buy contracts? Do you typically buy in the money? I always buy outside the money. Lately, I've been tinkering with some 0 days, the quick scalps, nothing holding, and then most of the time I'm doing 2 to 3 to 4 day DTEs. You'd have to wait 3 days for the cash to clear out as well, so you could do that. So you could do that strap at twice a week. No, I mean on a cash account you don't have to wait. It's next day clearing, at least for like when you're doing cash accounts on E-Trade especially, it's 1 day settlement. So T1. So as long as you got a cash account, let's say you got 10 grand, you could do 10 $1,000 trades 1 day. The next day you could do it again. So T1. That's right. It's got to be options. Stocks is 2 days. Options are 1 day. Yep. All right, got a little green right here. It is about 10:30 here. I'm going to give this a few more minutes just to see if we get a little volatility bounce here, and then I'm going to sign off. Call that a morning. Call that a morning. Do I day trade to fund my long-term portfolio? Yes, I do. I day trade to fund all of my long-term investments. I want all the investments I have to be funding other investments so your profits continue to grow. Compounding interest, compounding profits all the time. So my day trading funds my long term funds my real estate funds other investments, other real estate. Just that bubble wants to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Any chance to discuss long term picks? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I discuss it, you know, quite often. But yeah, I'll be happy to talk about that. And I think long-term investing is a huge, huge part of investing. I think if you are looking to be a day trader, you definitely need to be focusing on the long-term aspect as well. Long-term aspect is more important than the day trading, in my opinion. Holding stuff for 20, 30 years, and not just 401ks, but I mean stocks as well. If you want to catch those 3, 4, 5,000% wins over the course of 15 years, you have to be able to buy stocks now and hold them. All right, y'all chill on the YouTube chat there. We're all friends here. We're here to learn and to call each other names. All right, so that green candle, top wicked red candle right here. But I am going to go ahead and call that a morning, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern Time. Had a little shaking and baking, made some trades, made some money. De-risk, put on some risk, learned a little bit, had some good conversations. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you have any questions about anything we talked about or the trades I posted, shoot me a DM or post them in the room for everyone to see so we can let everyone see the answers to that. Y'all please be safe today. I want to make sure and take a note from what I did. I opened that PCS. Bear action came in. I closed it for, pennies, whatever. Very marginal profit. That's not the point. The point is I removed the risk. The removing the risk, the safety is more important to me than the profits on a day like today. On an environment like this, protect yourself, protect your account, preserve your capital, take the risk off, and enjoy your day. It's not about, some days it's not about profits, it's about preservation. And today is one of those days. So, hope you all enjoyed something. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you all bright and early tomorrow. It is Thursday. I double checked. Tomorrow is Thursday. So I will be doing Discord only. Jump in the Discord Patreon stream about approximately 9:25 Eastern Time, and we'll hop on and get ready to do something. Maybe somebody can join us. One of the mods, maybe Lil B can hop on again, and we could do a little trading. If you are Tier 3, remember we've got our Tier 3 call this afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. So we'll be doing our Zoom classroom session for the Tier 3 this afternoon. So be on the lookout for that as well. If you want to be a part of that, sign up for Tier 3 on the Patreon website. You get access not only to the current classrooms, but all the pre-recorded classroom sessions that we've had. So thank you for hanging out. Thanks for joining, trading with me, asking questions. I'll see you all bright and early tomorrow. I'm out.